Hey guys, welcome back to Novice Chess here. Let's get into another 10-minute. The last one was relatively terrible. so, um, yeah, that was bad. So, I'm going to go ahead and attack my opponent's center with c5. Um, yes, I'm really not familiar with this. Um, my opponent may even be able to play d6 here, which would be a problem. d6 and then e5. Okay, so he's not going for that. So it looks like we're transposing into some sort of, I believe this is called the Benoni. I'm not familiar with many openings from black's side, at least as far as the name goes. Although this knight doesn't look very well placed. um, yes, this knight doesn't look well placed at all. So, um, what are some ideas here? Rook. The problem with rook e8 is bishop b5. You know, whatever blocks then my opponent can take. So that's not fun. What do I do about this pressure? Perhaps I stop my opponent's bishop from coming to b5. That may be useful. Okay. So my opponent was scared of bishop g4, but that wasn't really on the cards anyway. Yes, this is somewhat difficult. So maybe I should just expand this way and put more pressure on this pawn here. Yes, this seems like the right way to go. He could go c4, but after c4 I can just take and then take the pawn. So I don't think my opponent will be able to save this. Yeah, I'm not seeing a good way to save this. So I may be out of trouble here. Right, and then I can just take, actually. So, what do I take with? If I take with the bishop, my bishop is potentially strong here. So, recapture with knight. If my opponent doesn't recapture, say if he moves his bishop back, then I'll just be up a pawn, but yes, it looks like my opponent will be able to get it back very shortly because this pawn is so weak. So if my opponent's going to get the pawn back anyway, I figure I might as well at least try and get the bishop pair, if possible. Yes, this is somewhat tricky. Right. There's just so much pressure on this pawn. I mean, I'm up a pawn, so I guess I shouldn't worry too much. Yes, maybe I should start looking for counterplay here. Attack b2 with tempo. while still defending. Seems logical. Maybe. Okay. So now my knight is being attacked twice. Bishop takes. Rook here. Queen. Sorry, knight c3. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Yes. Seems like my development is just not great. The question is, where do I put this knight? Okay, I see a fun line. So, knight c6, queen takes d6. Sorry, knight c3, queen takes d6, queen takes d6, bishop takes d6, rook d8. Oh, I forgot the knight was here. The knight will be defending. So I was thinking rook d8, bishop takes, and then rook c8. Kind of trying to take advantage of the fact that these bishops are aligned, but it doesn't quite work. But okay, let's see what else we have here. Bishop d8. Yeah. Doesn't quite work. But at the same time, I may get some compensation in the form of my opponent having double pawns, as well as well, wait a second. Here. Yeah, I really want to grab this knight. Grab the knight. Yeah, I want to grab the knight and go knight c6, actually. Try and complete my development. Okay. So what's the count here? I'm down a pawn. But I think I like my activity. I mean, my knights are fairly well placed. My opponent does have a double pawn near his king. This b pawn is very weak. As a matter of fact, I can probably grab it. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And now my opponent and I are even in material, but I'd probably say I'm a little bit better. Just because my opponent has double pawns here. Maybe I'm overestimating my position, but yeah, I'm probably overestimating. It's probably equal. Okay. So can I just get out of the way here and or is there a tactic I'm missing somewhere? I probably want to keep rooks on, or okay. I actually like this move because if he tries to go something like rook d7, then I have knight e5, and that looks strong. So I think after knight e5, which I plan on doing anyway. Ah, yes, now I think I'm probably winning. Notice my knight is a monster here. He's hitting the bishop. The bishop is now hit twice, defended 0 times. He's hitting the rook, and he's also hitting this pawn, threatening to take with a check. So I think my opponent's best bet is actually to sacrifice the bishop here. Otherwise, I'm just going to get it for free. Okay. He wants to give up his rook. I'm not sure that that's the best way to do things. I think I'm... Yes. Okay, so let's do a little bit of post-mortem here. Yes, this I played terribly, so... Probably the best move here is d6. Just so... it's hard to say. So, okay. Can my opponent play this? With the idea of... with the idea that, you know, d6 is just putting a lot of pressure on my position. I can't get space in the center. Yes, it looks somewhat hard to deal with. Yes, that may have been something for my opponent to consider, but okay. So he didn't, and we get into this type of stuff. So, at first I wasn't really sure how to deal with this because this is still, you know, causing problems. Like, I can't develop my knight to its natural c6, so I have to try and figure something else out. Meanwhile, this pawn has pressure on it. Pressure that I don't like. So I needed to keep this clear for a while. So I couldn't develop my knight to something like d7 either. Okay, so at this point, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna grab this pawn. This is fine. I figured I want to start to look for some counterplay here. Right, and the line I was looking at was something along... After this, I wanted to go rook c8, but I forgot that this knight was defending, so that was a little bit problematic. There I decided to give up the bishop pair to damage my opponent's pawn structure. I decided to get more material, or grab the material back. And this was the key move that my opponent missed. And honestly, even if my opponent didn't do this, if he saw it and, say, moved basically anywhere else, just say he tried to double, then even this would still be strong. It's really hard to figure out what to do with the bishop afterwards. Although I guess he could retreat it. Yes, retreating would be probably his best bet. Right. But then I start being able to put pressure here. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. That was a little bit better than the last game. Alright, hope to catch you guys later. Bye-bye.